Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bleakheaven, hosted by me, the Birdman. And today we have a returning guest. She was on the first episode of our podcast, and she's back again talking about her latest comic, Marx. Miss Casandra Bostwick.
Happy to be here.
I wish there was a sound file with like applause, but
no, we'll just add it in post.
So I don't think I really asked you in the first episode. Tell us more about yourself. Where do you come from, Utah?
I've been around Utah my whole life, so I can't really say that I'm from a place. There's a lot of people in Utah that think I have a weird accent, but I don't know where I got that from. I've been around a lot. Always wanted to do something gigantic with my life, and I guess Bleakhaven is where it's at.
That's massive enough. It's Galactus massive.
Yeah, I mean, sure. the stories we're creating, it's already so huge, and we've just started, and we're so excited to really share these stories with you guys. And I'm sorry that it takes so long for each thing, just because we're a smaller studio, but we can tell you there is no shortage of excitement and passion behind the project that we're doing.
Oh, no kidding. I mean, I feel like that is the struggle with being a smaller studio. I mean, after hearing news and stuff and seeing a mysterious post the other day with some skull and a tree, I mean, I figure you have a little more to share on that, but I don't know if we want to tell them right now or make them wait for it.
Oh, we can talk about that at the end, because that's the interesting stuff.
Why don't you tell the folks at home a little bit more about your role at Bleakhaven? What do you do?
I've got my fingers in all the pies. I would say that the best way to describe my role is probably project manager. I oversee all the different facets of the business. I oversee the art team. I oversee the writing team. By oversee, I mean I kick their butts for deadlines. I make sure everything comes together. I help with social media. Pretty much anything that you see in Bleakhaven right now, I have had some kind of say in what it is or when it's coming out.
Nice. I mean, it's usually you or kid kicking my butt just to get podcasts rolling. I can only imagine what it's like with everybody else.
It's like herding cats.
That is the best analogy I've heard all day. So you said it's like herding cats, but could you be a little bit more specific? What's it like working with the team?
You hear all these phrases when people talk about artists, they talk about they're a little bit crazy. I feel like that's a basic knowledge, is that people who create things are a little bit nuts, and nuts in a good way, right? Is there all the people that we work with are just so full of passion for the things that they do that it's not hard to get quality stuff from the team. It's the deadlines that might just get to me. So I'm just working with this large group of people who care so much and know how to tell a good story and know how to show a good story, that it's just getting it down and getting it to a point where they're okay with letting it go. It's a lot of fun, and it's quite an experience.
I can only imagine. I can't think about the millions of times I've ever been with any of my friends and been like, oh man, we should have recorded that, you know, or we should have wrote that down. And then it's like, it's one thing to write it down, but it's also another thing to keep the ball rolling and like actually apply it, put it out there for the mainstream. But
it's definitely a task.
Yeah, for sure. No project doesn't have its ups and downs, you know, its challenges.
It's nice that they're all really awesome people to work with, especially you, and Stanley's my husband, so I do really enjoy working with him all of the time. That's been quite a blessing that my partner in crime is with me 24/7. So that does help me not get discouraged sometimes. Sometimes it's just Stanley's a constant reminder of the passion behind the project and the reason why we're doing this. It's pretty inspiring.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I can imagine, like, and it's probably great. You can always just, if he's annoying you with it, you can just whap him upside the head and move on to the next subject. You can't really do that with everybody else, but
It's
you can do it
true.
with him.
It's good that he helps me. More so he's kicking my butt, I think, sometimes. But it's good.
Oh,
It's a
really?
great partnership. I get to be a little bit pessimistic sometimes, but I don't know, pessimism and
Oh,
optimism, I have both of them as a weakness. So
yeah. You see, you can't be the lead pessimist. We already had him on, so
it's
that
true.
you have to be the opposite end of the spectrum. It's time to be the lead optimist.
Yeah, I do my best to do that. It's actually funny because sometimes I'll be talking to people about like what our plans are and the things that we hope to do and the projects we have underway, and they look at me and they're like, "You really think you can do that? Like, that's a lot." I do get a lot of doubters in like how ambitious we're being, but to me it's just like fuel to the fires, being like, no, I understand what I'm doing. I've crunched the numbers, and I'm going to blow you out of the water when this project is completed.
That's the end goal. That's the anticipation. Let's blow them out of the water.
Mhm.
But speaking of blowing people out of the water, is this series gonna blow people out of the water? Tell us more about this Marx.
I really hope it blows people out of the water. She's a character that I've been trying to write for quite some time, and Cade finally has given me Stanley has finally given me the freedom to do that. I've been exploring Marx as a character, and the comic book, the first series that I'm doing with Marx, is about how her family betrays her, and she goes off on this adventure to go and try to find out who she is outside of her family, because she has a really dark past, and she was trained as an assassin throughout her teenage years. She's got this nitty-gritty story, and now she's out like in the wild and doesn't have this family or this organization over top of her. She's trying to figure out who she is and still get revenge on what they did to her. So that's what the first arc is going to be about, and I'm pretty pumped about it. I'm excited to see how people respond.
Oh wow. Is this going to be like a youth oriented? Because I mean, like most assassins aren't exactly kid oriented. Is it gonna be more for the adult crowd or for teens or what?
Honestly, my main audience, the audience that I want to target, is teenager me, right? I was the angstiest person on the planet. Like I just wanted to be this badass person, right? And you could see it written all
Yeah.
over my face. And I really want to talk to specifically like 15-year-old girls that just think the world is against them, and I want to talk about like really serious and taboo emotional issues that teenagers face and that nobody wants to talk about. Specifically, just like feeling this darkness that you can't handle, that you don't know where it's coming from, and you're still trying to move forward from that.
All right. Well, that's good though. I mean, the best way to solve those problems is just to assassinate people so that we're
Yeah.
good to go. No, I'm just kidding. No, see, well, what brings me to it is that you mentioned you're targeting like a more teenage audience, and it's crazy because every time I think of that, I think of Lucy Liu's character from Kill Bill, and that's just so gruesome. And it's just like those are the type of stories that I get into, but forget about what I get into. I think people are going to enjoy Marx.
Honestly, I think that it will be enjoyable for a larger audience. I want to tackle a lot of really dark issues. It will probably be just primarily towards women, or just people who feel an extensive amount of emotions that they don't know how to handle. And I'm not saying that I'm going to be like a therapist or anything. It's more going
Oh,
to be stories of validation of like, you're not the only one who feels this way, and these characters get
a little bit of comic book therapy. I
it.
see.
Yeah, comic book therapy. If I
Yeah,
had a license, I would call
comic
it
book.
that.
No kidding. Comic book therapy. I feel like that should be a thing for
It
sure.
should be a thing. The first and foremost thing that we're going to tackle with Marx is just a really cool story about an assassin who's very capable figuring out what to do with real life for a minute. And then, being an assassin. It'll be really fun.
I mean, it sounds really fun. Marx is a cool character, but are there any other cool characters you can share without like giving away anything? Does she have a posse or something?
Originally, before she gets betrayed by her family, these high-end like mafia type people that her dad runs it, right? Her dad, his name is Callahan King. It's difficult to talk about this because there's just so much jam-packed into it, right? This is why she was trained as an assassin, is she grew up in the mafia, basically. When they betray her, she goes to get revenge, and I'd like to hint a little bit at the Kingsmen. I know I already did in the live event a little bit, but I'd like to talk about them a little bit more because they are three characters that I kind of fell in love with the idea of, and then I started writing about them, and I'm just really excited for what I'm even gonna learn more about them coming forward. I can't tell you when they're gonna appear in the comic series. I could tell you a little bit about where they're from. The Kingsmen were essentially created. All right, stay with me here. There's this organization called the Yellow Jacket. They do human testing. They take people with minor abilities and they take them and they modify them in a way that they'll be useful to rich people. It's like a security company that mutates people. So the Kingsmen came from there, and that's something. This organization is something you'll learn about really quick in the comics because it's going to directly tie in to a lot of situations. And I'm excited to write more about the Yellow Jacket Society because I've seen a lot of programs where mutants are created and used. I want to create the elitist mutants, right? It's just a security company. These are people just created for the filthy rich who have the money to do it. And there's nothing else behind it.
Basically, high-end society is mutating people for their own gain. I like that. It's like a mix of Lex Luthor, but I probably want to put like Court of Owls in there as well, you know?
Yeah, kind of like that. Like if the Court of Owls had the ability to mutate people more frequently, or if that's all they did.
Yeah. In these mutations, so the Kingsmen would, like, I imagine each of them have their own different abilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested. You got me interested. Could you give us a sneak peek about like what abilities they might have?
I can give you a hint. I can give you a tease, but I can't give you much more. The Kingsmen, their names are Rook, Knight, and Bishop. And if you want to know what they can do, you should look a little bit into chess. It's not exactly like move for move what they can do, but we've largely based their abilities based off of the actual chess pieces. And it's interpreted in such a way. I've actually had my team help me out with the Kingsmen just because I want to make them as awesome as possible. And what we've come up with for them to do and their backstories, it's going to be exciting.
I mean, it sounds exciting. No, I don't want to push any more backstory. I want to find out for myself, just like everybody else. That sounds awesome. I can't wait to read Marx.
Me too.
Well, you too.
I like watching the story unfold. I'm just the conduit, right?
So, is there anything else you'd like to add for Marx? Like, can we expect? Do we have like a date that it might be coming out, or and an idea?
The next 3 series, there's the ones that we announced on the live event. They're planned for the future. We don't have a date for those yet because it takes a lot of funding to make these comic books. So what I can tell you is that if you want to see these comic books as soon as possible, I think you should keep an eye out for the Kickstarter that's going to launch about mid-January. If we get this Kickstarter funded, we can get the next 3 comic books out probably next year, as early as we can. And we'll have more details about that once the Kickstarter's over. We can start giving actual deadlines.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, everybody at home listening to this podcast, get ready for that Kickstarter, man. Get your wallets out.
You need more comic books in your life. Get some comic book therapy.
Exactly. Get some comic book therapy. Do we have any other news that we might want to be releasing?
News right now, I think it's just I think it's just that cryptic post you talked about.
Oh
I
yeah, that cryptic post.
I
Oh.
am really excited about this. If you're looking forward to more content from the Bleakhaven universe, you should also be super excited about this because we have a project launching this month for a YouTube channel. So what we're going to do in this YouTube channel is we're going to have a story released. So I don't know what the title is of it yet, but it's about some investigators from like the 20s in Bleakhaven that go through and they just hunt the paranormal, and we're gonna be hearing stories about that, and I'm super excited about it.
Oh, what? Okay, all right, okay. I'm sitting over here in anticipation. What? When's the YouTube channel coming out?
You'll just have to keep an eye out on the Facebook page because we're gonna have the date released here soon, I'm hoping. But this is gonna be something that we're gonna be able to do a lot more steadily because it doesn't require as many people. It just requires mainly our writers and the voice actors that are gonna be a part of it. But we're gonna be able to release a regular amount of videos. We're going to announce more about that later on our Facebook page about how often we're going to be releasing these stories, but it is going to be pretty regular. So you'll have to wait for the comic books, I'm sorry to say, but this podcast style YouTube channel is going to go up pretty regularly.
So when you say podcast style YouTube channel, do you mean like more along the lines of like an audio drama or
Yeah, it's going to be like an audio drama.
Okay. 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 All right. Those are dope. Those are great. I'm glad that you guys are doing that because I mean, I'll listen to that every day of the week.
Yeah,
Seriously.
we're super excited about it too. It'll be a great way to introduce more of the universe, let people really explore even just the city and the surrounding cities of the Bleakhaven world and the characters. I'm also really excited about Daniel Blake being the main one, and he has a sidekick, and I can't tell you too much about this story, but I can tell you that this is a really good partnership that these stories are going to be about. And there's a lot of really wacky characters in it that add a lot of comedy, but it's also going to be a very dark. These podcasts will be more for mature audiences because of the dark things that are going to be happening in some episodes.
Good. Don't get me wrong. I like putting stuff out for the teens and the kids, but at the end of the day, you know, it's nice to see some gritty material, especially from this universe.
Oh yeah, we're excited because it's pretty much going to be a monster hunting series. If we're going to be honest, it's just going to be about like cryptids, and there's going to be a lot of history, like historical folklore that we're going to tackle, and it's just going to be a ride, a freaking roller coaster.
I can only imagine, and I can't wait to check it out. I can't wait to see it. Hopefully that YouTube channel comes out quick. Hopefully you guys can get that production done.
This month.
It's
happening.
Oh, stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned. Is there anything else you might want to tell the fans at home?
I think I'll conclude with some sentimental notes because I have to. I'm really appreciative of the people that have been following our stories, the people that have been supporting us on Facebook and in person and through buying stuff on the website. All of the support that we're getting is just bolstering our efforts to move forward. And I also really appreciate the team that I'm working with, again, because the amount of passion that's in just like the pinky finger of any member of our team is the most inspiring and motivating to really get this project done into fruition and really on the tracks to a great future. Super excited about it, and I appreciate your time, and I appreciate all the support. Thanks so much to everybody.
I'm going to ride off of your sentimental roller coaster here. Thank you, folks, for listening to our podcast as well. I've had some pretty supportive people that's given me a lot of feedback on our podcast and just given us not only a lot of feedback, but, you know, just a lot more to look forward to. And I hope we can keep putting out content that'll make everybody at home happy. I wanted to thank you and Stanley for actually getting me on board this. It's been awesome. It's been awesome for sure.
It's been one of our smartest decisions. So thank you for that. Thank you for your time, Birdman, and for your awesome talents.
The bird abides. You know how it goes.
Perfect. I'll be pushing your next deadline soon.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Welcome to Bleakhaven with me, the Birdman. You can find out more at bleakhaven.com or on Facebook or at the official Bleakhaven podcast on Instagram or the Bleakhaven page on Instagram as well. If you guys want to listen to more of the Birdman and my podcast, you can visit the Critter Community and the Birdman and Rooster Show. Till next time, folks, I've been the Birdman.